Okay, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Let's go through some of the expected outcome of this lecture. Just give me a moment. Okay. Yes. So let me look at here. Morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, I believe you can hear me. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the virtual realities or virtual reality testing, development, and future trend. Virtual realities is rapidly evolving. So in this presentation, we are going to explore the key concept of that virtual realities, from the hardware and software to the development and the trend in the future. Okay, all this has to do with the virtual realities exciting potential across the various application and impact to our world. So let's look at virtual realities technology as an overview. So this kind of recap, we have the virtual realities headset, which is example the Oculus I've shown to you previously in the previous module. And we have the controllers, which I've shown you the haptic, okay, devices, which is the hand controller from the Oculus, and also the tracking system or the tracking component or the tracking device, which I've also showed you that small tracking device that track the movement of the user. So the headset actually are the gateway to virtual world. So when you use the headset, you are expected to feel the reality in virtual. So whatever you observe within the headset is virtual, and that transform that virtuality into reality. So it becomes a gateway that allows a human to feel that reality in virtual, something that is not there, but you feel it is there. Some of the students have tested this device, and they have seen with the full immersive and semi-immersive, okay, or partial immersive VR that we use here. In fact, one of the students uses his camera phone with the semi-immersive virtual reality, and we observe and we have some experience with the full immersive and semi-immersive. So it comes in a various form like non-immersive, semi-immersive, and full immersive. So these are different type of headset we have. Some they are standalone, some they are PC powered, okay, and so it depends. For example, full immersive will come as standalone, most of the time standalone, like Oculus, but it may come in different form, and semi-immersive may come as PC powered or a headset powered or any kind of device that would be, allowing it to observe and do some activity with in the system. Okay, so all these offer a different features and depending on the functionality. For example, if you use the Oculus, which is full immersive, the one that we use, Oculus 2, so you will understand that technically you are controlling everything within the device and you feel the reality. But if you use the other device that I brought, which the student use, and I've shown it in the class previously in the previous module, also I've shown you the controller and so on that device. It is a semi-immersive. It's kind of PC powered, though it's not connected to PC, but you attach the phone in it and you use it. So both of them has different interaction, and the user have different experience from these type of devices. Then the controllers, in both full immersive, semi-immersive or non-immersive, depending on the type of the application, they may not have a controller. Okay, but in most cases, full immersive have a controller, whether simple controller or more complex controller, and semi-immersive also have a controller, simple controller or complex. Okay, it depends on the type and how the manufacturer designed the interaction between the user and the device. That's what matters. For example, the Oculus Go that I show you, it has a simple, very simple controller. There are only two keys, which is the um, uh, menu and the Oculus key, and then the joystick, then the trigger. But in the Oculus 2, the controller that I've shown to you, we have number of keys. We have 4 keys, the joystick, and the menu is there as well. Then we have the grab button, and we have the index, which is the pointing or clicking. Is that correct? So this is depending on the interaction between the system and the user. This will determine what is the functionality, though it's not limitation to the system, but in some cases it may give a user different perspective in terms of the way the user uses that particular system or interact with the system. Okay, just hold on. Okay, then the tracking system or the tracking component or the tracking device. Most of the time the tracking device have to track the movement of the user, the emotion, the gesture, and so on within the user. So during the activity, the tracking device will try and respond back to the system so that the user will be in line with the particular activity or exercise in that particular application. Okay, let us continue. So the virtual reality tracking system enable the headset and controller to accurately determine their position. So after tracking the user, it also have the device and the controller to be able to calibrate and provide more accurate response to the user. Determine the position and orientation in space, creating the immersive and responsive experience. So this is to have to calibrate the entire operation within the activities within the system to make sure that it's seamless and is accurate. Okay. The next is the key virtual reality's hardware and software components. We have the headset, which have to display the high resolution display created a realistic visualization. So imagine you are having the maybe 82 high definition display in front of you, which is curved, and you are very close to this display. That's exactly what you see. You see the real thing, the whole world in higher definition, and you see every bit and detail of those characters that are added into the system. It is very small, like around 6 by 3, okay, rectangular, and inside we have the vision part with the glass, okay, kind of lens, and then you are visualizing within this particular small diameter which is less than 2 inches, yet it comes in two different 2 inches, and it calibrates. You can adjust the vision in case you have a narrow piece or you have a wider piece. You can adjust. It's adjustable, and then it focus. You seeing things in higher definition or higher resolution. This create a good experience in terms of interacting with the system. There is a motion sensors, which sensor that used to track the headset and the body. Okay, the movement between the body and the headset for accurate emission. So why we need these sensors? Why do we need these motion sensors? It is quite important because you want to understand when there is a movement from the system should react back to back. So if the user moves, shake the head, you should be able to see a different part of that virtual image. Look down, you should be able to see the bottom part of that image. Look up, raise your head up, you should be able to see that. So it is quite interesting when you use it and you visualize by moving around like you're moving in this world, but it's virtual. It is done with the help of the motion sensors. Then the virtual reality software and platform, which is the platform that power the virtual reality's experience, handling the rendering, input, and interaction. So this is where the most important thing happens within the interaction. The software platform for the virtual realities have or power the virtual experiences, and it handles that rendering, the exact thing that we want to visualize within the virtual environment. It render it, and the input, when the user added something, for example single player or multiplayer, the interaction, what is coming and as an input within the system, it also take care of that. And the interaction, there is sometimes an interaction whereby the user required some action to perform certain activity. The system should be able to get this action, connection with the user. So for example, the user may be asked, do you want to continue? There should be a place for yes and no, right? So this kind of interaction between the systems. Sometimes no, it asks you shake your head for no, or use thumb up for yes, and so on, and it just works fine. This is quite important. Then we have the virtual realities content development tools. So this is actually another most important, because this is where the entire thing are built in terms of software that used in the virtual realities headset, and also the interaction that happens between the user and the headset, with the controllers, with the motion detection and all that, the trackers. It is a place where the virtual environment is created and rendered, okay, model to be added into the virtual realities. The reactions, actions, interactions, and all need to be added in that. What happened if the user did this? What happened if the user failed to do this? Okay, and what the response we are expecting for the user, and what's the behavior that we can generate from the user back into the system. So this involves designing a 3D model, a logic operation flow, okay, process flow, and also some programming activity where some algorithm need to be created to get the if-else conditions of the interaction. Okay, So the algorithm will be added and executed in the content development of virtual realities tools. Then another part which is quite important is testing and optimizing the virtual realities experience. It is quite important when you build a virtual realities to test it. If you don't test it, you won't be able to know what happened, what if, and so on. So it is quite important to test it. So usability testing is quite important to evaluate the ease of use of that navigation and the user interaction design. Whether the system is ease of use, whether it is complicated, okay? I have used several of virtual realities application whereby, yeah, it's easy to start. But once you start using this application, it's not easy to use because maybe they fail to test that particular part. For example, if you zoom out, you see yourself outside the boundary, you can go back in one of the application that I tried. So the ease of use is not there. Okay, you need to exit the application and re-enter the application. Whatever you try, you can get back to where you are once you are out of the boundary. Okay, and this is virtual reality. Then the next is performance testing. Okay, analyzing the frame rate, latency, and responsiveness for the smooth experience. The system needs to perform in a seamless operation whereby the user will have a best experience in using the system. The image has to be smooth, okay, with a higher definition or maybe higher resolution that is visible, and it's enough to show the detail within the environment as if as you are seeing things in reality. The latency, the delay should be eliminated if possible. If you are using things within the network, it should actually be minimum latency for that experience, right? Immersive experience. Also, within the tracker, the time that you click the item, it should be click. There shouldn't be a delay within the action and response. For example, when you move your head right or left, it should move immediately in the vision, not after some time. So the latency should be minimum. The responsiveness, whatever you do, it should be in time. Okay, so this can have to have that seamless experience by the users of these virtual realities, and it is one of the key things that will help to ensure that the system is being the performance of the system is well and good. It also have to have a better experience by the user. Hardware compatibility must have a compatibility match with other hardwares. For example, I want to visualize these virtual realities to my computer. So while I'm seeing that, I want other people to see what, so like casting, there should be this compatibility. No, I have other phone that I can use as a remote control. I should be able to calibrate that with the Bluetooth or whatever means of connection. It should allow that kind of connection. Or I have a different controller I want to add. For example, usually Oculus come with the two controllers. So maybe one is not working, you buy another one. You should be able to pair it in a seamless operation. So there shouldn't be an issue. The compatibility with the different headset and controller, it should be there. So for example, I have a headset controller, and this kind of application come with 4 different controllers and so on. So I want to use multiple controllers. I should be able to pair these controllers, right? Or I want to add a new controller with a stick or with a joystick and the stylus pen and all that. It should be able to comfortably work within different devices. Then the user interface and interaction. Design for the virtual reality. The user interface should be intuitive controls, simple and natural, hand gesture for the interaction, clear visual feedback, visual cues to guide the user and provide the feedback, spatial awareness, design the interface that consider the three-dimensional environment. This is quite important, okay? The system should be able to handle this interaction within the interface. For example, when I wave my hand on the virtual realities, I should be able to see my hand waving. And as I told you, in some of the virtual realities, even without the hand controller, the haptic controller, you still can use the hand to perform some pointing and other related operations. And I've given you example with the Oculus 2 that in some of the application you still use the hand without the controller and it works. So this is reading the gesture, okay? Reading the gesture for the interaction. For example, when you use a tutorial in the Oculus where you have number of cartridge you use, and one of the cartridges is like dancing with the robot. The robot require a gesture to either continue, start, or end the performance. For example, the robot will ask you to shake hand to start dancing. Once you shake hand, then the dancing activity started. And in many cases, there is this kind of gesture that you can use. After this performance, the robot will require you to wave for goodbye or thumbs up for a new or another performance. So these are the gesture. It reads the gesture. When you thumbs up, it means you want to continue. When you wave, it's okay, thank you. When you shake hand, you are ready to start, and so on. So this intuitive control, simply the natural hand gesture for interaction is quite important, and it makes the virtual realities more interactive and more reality. You need to have a design where a clear visual feedback are available. So for example, when I'm using the virtual realities in some application, you see that there is some feedback coming from the system to the user, asking you to confirm yes or no, continue or quit, exit or resume, and so on. So these are kind of response. It should be clear. When you are in the application and you press a menu, the menu will display, and the application will be on the background asking you to exit or resume. You can do other things while that is there on the background, as you can open many windows within the virtual realities while you are outside the application, especially when you are in the menu. Okay, it allows you to open multiple windows. Okay, those applications that you are running, for example, the gaming or other kind of virtual realities application, will require your feedback to either quit or exit or resume to continue. What happens if you exit? The application exit and it frees the memory. Then the next time you want it, you have to open it again. But what if you say resume? It will disappear the menu and other application, and this application will override and come back to the forefront. So it is quite important to have this clear visual feedback. that will not confuse the user, and it is quite visible for user, and it is easy for user to confirm or to use and to have that seamless experience. Spatial awareness is a design interface that consider the three-dimensional environment. So designing the three-dimensional environment within the virtual realities is quite important. Considering the 3D object within the virtual realities is quite important. Remember, the virtual realities have to get the item as in reality and presenting it virtually. Having the three-dimensional environment to be modeled within the virtual realities will have this objective to achieve. Will help us to achieve this particular objective of the reality, the virtual reality. If you are not using that particular three-dimensional objects or environment, then it may not look as virtual reality. Because in virtual, I have this object, I should be able to turn around, see what is it, sometimes even open the casing and look around. I have the remote control, I want to feel it, I want to touch, I want to feel the texture on the remote control. I should be able to open the battery and look at the design of the package of the battery, and I should be able to remove the battery. The same thing with the virtual reality, we should be able to make it in such a way that it will be a three-dimensional, and it could be used and it could be visualized in this form where user can see it side by side, back to back. Okay. So this is it. If you have any question, please share your question. I will be able to see the comments if there is any question. Madhu Mustafa, do you have any question? If you have a question, please write it on the comment so that I will continue. Okay. Are you there? If you are there, let me know. Okay. Development challenges involve hardware requirement and installation. There are a number of challenges in terms of deployment of the virtual realities. You may have the virtual realities ready and within the development environment, everything is working fine and so on, but until you deploy it into the system, then you may see some other issue, which means that it could be a hardware. There will be a challenges, okay? Different device, different type of hardware requirements, okay? Some device may have a lower requirement, some device may have a higher requirement. That could be an issue that one has to observe in terms of developing the virtual realities application before deployment. Understand the type of application that you're going to develop and for which type of device and for which type of users. This is quite important. That's why in software development, we look at the domain. Domain is quite important. And the domain can tell us the type of device that should be used and other details as well. The users of the device, the system rather, the users of the system, the type of the device used for the system, and other component required to be used for the system. And this will help us to get the requirement of the system and build the application for that particular system. So in a situation whereby you have the system and you already deploy the system, and then there is new Oculus or new virtual realities device emerge. So could this application be used in the later version of the Oculus or virtual realities device, or could it be used for the previous type of virtual realities device? All this need to be in consideration, just like Android phones and iOS. If you trying to download some of the application from the Play Store, from the what do you call it, Apple Store, the system tells you that this software or this program or this application could not be used in your device because the device is out of date, or maybe you don't have updated software. So all these requirements are kind of challenges that also face in the virtual realities hardwares. Okay, so we look at the hardware requirement to ensure that the hardware met the minimum requirement specification for the virtual realities. If the device to run is it can run on the minimum of 4 gigabyte, okay, or maybe 2 gigabyte, 1 gigabyte RAM, then that machine should have the minimum of 1 gigabyte RAM space after the system is on. Remember, there is other background application that takes part of the RAM as well. The hard drive, we should be able to know that the system has that enough hard drive that can allow the system to run. Okay, also it is quite important to understand that if the system did not meet that minimum requirement, it means that the system may not function the way it's expected to function. Okay, if there is any backlog between the requirement and the system that is being deployed, then that seamless experience will not be there. You may have some interruption here and there, crashing, bugs, and so on within the system. So are you with me? Okay, then the software installation. Install and configure the virtual realities software, drivers, and update. Always consider this as an important. You have to install and configure the virtual realities, and you have to make sure that the needful driver are available, and you need to make sure that your virtual realities is up to date. Just imagine having your phone, okay, once the update, for example, WhatsApp, the update is not installed. After some time, the system blocks you from accessing the services until you update your application. And also, it happens in many cases where the entire phone cannot function because there is no update. It may function, the basic function, but other related function will not be functioning as expected. So the update is quite required. Okay. remember, for the system to function well, there must be an driver ready installed in that system. What is the function of the driver? Is to make sure that the headset is communicating smoothly with the other devices connected to function. The controller need to be communicating with the headset, and there must be a driver installed in the headset to understand that controller. Okay. Network connectivity. Reliable internet connection for seamless streaming and multiplayer experience. Not only that, in some cases you require to have the internet to download the application. You require to have the internet to update the application, and also you require to have the internet to cast the virtual realities on other device, for example, when you are using your Oculus. The internet helps you to stream the cast or the casting of that particular application. The vision, what you're seeing, should be able to be seen by others on the that are not using the virtual realities. They may you may have this cast on the computer or on a smart board or on the mobile application like Horizon to show it on your mobile screen. So reliable internet connection help in ensuring the seamless operation and activities with the virtual reality streaming and casting. If you don't have a good internet, it means that the system may take time before you download the package and get it updated or install the package. It may take time, more time. The system also may not be able to also be utilized by those applications that require to have multiplayer. Data privacy, security need to be considered in the virtual reality. Remember, most of the virtual realities have cameras which help to track the motion, the movement around the environment, and so on. It helps to visualize the natural environment or the natural reality or the natural environment, not the virtual environment, the system, and allowing user to draw their space where they can stand and do their activities. It's showing you all the objects. So this camera, are we sure that the information from this camera is not moved out of the device? It's only used in the device. It is quite important to know that it may go out. Having the privacy, for example, like your emails, your other things, you're not sure. Maybe you are casting your screen and other people are watching. So think about the privacy, okay? Your privacy. How many applications are there available for the virtual realities and how many of them are trusted? The user information, can it be shared For example, location, phone contact, and other informations which are quite uh, private for the user. How many applications are there that we trust, and this application we have like understanding that it cannot disclose the information given to them while accessing. So for example, an application will require you to allow access to the location. How sure are we that the application is not taking my location and sending it to another person? It required some time access to the folder and files. Can we allow that? What and in which way the application will grant the access for this content? For example, okay. So data collected should be kept private for just using that particular application, not to be used by other means. And in most cases, this information may be used for diagnosis and fixing bugs, but in reality, it goes beyond. And for that also need a consent of a user before this information could be used. So while you are developing the application, you need to think about the privacy of the user. What are the information that you collected and how you use this information? Okay. Is there any question? Okay. So it is always important to have this transparency on what are the data that have been collected and how the data is used. User need to be aware of how his data, the user data is being collected and how it is being used. It's quite vital. Data encryption, protecting the user data using encryption and secure protocol. Since that the application may collect information or data from the user, you should be able to develop an application that collect information in an encrypted manner. For example, the username, the password, other details like address, home address, phone number. All this information need to be encrypted. Okay. For example, social media account, the Google account, single sign-on, and so on. All these details need to be kept and need to be collected in an encrypted manner, whereby only the authorized person can have access to this information. The system can collect this information, use it, and it needs to be encrypted whereby other people cannot view and tap this information. Then we have the access control. Implement the access control mechanism to limit the data across the other platform. So access to this data need to be in form of access control. For example, you have your contact in the virtual realities. What application can access a contact. For example, you can say WhatsApp can access a contact, and in which manner WhatsApp can access a contact. Why WhatsApp need a contact? You have a Facebook want to use a contact, even though they don't use a contact, but they say that it present like having the contact will check any mobile phone registered in Facebook and have a recommendation as a friend to you. So this need to be transparent, and it should be implemented in a way that only those content can be collected and with the consent of the user. If there is no implementation of access control, it means that other application can access almost everything, even if they don't require that to function. They can still get that information. And having user information out of the application is quite dangerous, because the impact of having this or sharing this with others that are not authorized may have a greater impact. Social virtual reality, multiplayer, collaboration, and share experiences. So we are looking into a socialized version of virtual realities where it allows social, interaction. This could be in a gaming. It could be in collaboration with other people, other agency, research, experiment, exploration, and you collaborate, you share knowledge, information, and so on. Sharing experiences as well. So we have at the moment we have a social virtual reality platform which are growing in popularity, connecting people from around the world. More than 10 million of users. Okay, more than 50% of these are engaged. Okay, engagement, user reporting, feeling more engaged and connected in a social virtual reality. Okay, so this is a kind of a survey where more than 50% have that engagement in connecting social virtual realities environment. A lot of applications are in existence where it allows this collaboration, social collaboration, and it allows user to interact with other user around the globe. Can we have an example of this virtual realities application for social engagement? Just give me sample. Joshua, welcome. Can you give me this example? Okay, sorry, Joshua, I didn't see your question. Can you send the question again? Because I didn't see any question. Send the question again, please. Can you type your question again? I didn't see the question yet. I'm waiting for your question, Joshua. I didn't understand your question. I didn't understand your question, Joshua. No, okay. Hold on. Yes, I didn't get your question, please. Okay. The old version of headset, do they have environment control? Okay, when you say environment control, what are you referring to? The environment as in virtual environment control or environmental control in terms of the nature? Please, can you specify? Could you specify if you mean the environmental control, which is the nature, or the virtual realities environment control? I assume you mean the virtual reality. Okay, very good. So it depends on the type, right? It depends on the type. Even though there are some, like Oculus One, it has a control for the virtual environment, and we just having some update making the control better. What you need to understand is that we have immersive, full immersive, we have partial immersive or semi-immersive, and we have non-immersive. So the full immersive and partial immersive, you definitely will have the virtual realities environment control. So the user will have uh, uh, um, some control over the environment itself, the virtual environment. Okay, I think there are some delay before you hear me. So let's try to get this clear if it is clear for you before we move on. Yes, all the virtual realities should have a control over the boundary as long as they are immersive or semi-immersive. Once there is a situationary environment for that particular virtual realities, then there should be a control for that virtual realities. Okay, there should be a control for that particular virtual realities application. So, a number of platform exists in the virtual realities applications where allowing user to have this social interaction or socialized, okay, in terms of either gaming or some social activity and also collaboration. So it comes in a multiplayer platform. If you remember, in the practical we did um, last Saturday, I show you different type of virtual realities application and other application on the Unity, and one of them is multiplayer. Multiplayer allow collaboration, interaction with multiple user at the same time, having that seamless experience and sharing that particular operation or activity together. So this example of the tools that you can use for creating, and it comes with a framework that allow user to create an application where this application will allow interaction between multiple users. Okay, and both user will be having a certain character, and the character will be reflected to the other user. Okay, and following that particular framework, in this kind of development tools for virtual realities, will have in executing that multiplayer application in an easy way or manner. Okay, and it is one of the best experience having these virtual realities virtual world, and you are sharing it with other people in terms of socializing or gaming or watching movie or most of the case collaboration, for example, when you are teaching a student and they have to work in a group and where they use virtual realities to come with a solution and solve certain part of the problems that were given as a case for that activity. There any questions so far? Okay, so um, at the moment, we have numerous application or platform that are in existence where allowing a multiple user of virtual realities experience for gaming, socializing, and collaboration. Imagine virtual reality trend. So we have augmented reality, mixed reality. If you are following carefully in the um, activity we perform on Saturday, last class, we do have this part of the discussion where we have augmented reality, and I've shared some pictures. Okay, some of the pictures that I shared are these. Let me share it here as well. Let me share the picture here. Okay. share some of the pictures here so that we can have that in mind when we speak. Okay, so these are a few of the picture I have, because we need to have some recap, and hopefully this will help to make better understanding. Okay, document. Okay, the picture a little bit wide, so I have to readjust it so that it can be visible. Okay. Okay. Okay, then the next, let me get this as well. Okay. 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 Okay, good. The last one. Try to get the last one done. Okay. We're just trying to show the example on how this augmented reality. If you are following, I've mentioned about it, and now we're going to see how this is presented. Okay. Okay. So resume. Okay. So this is an example of this augmented reality, whereby you are visualizing an environment, at the same time adding the virtual object or a three-dimensional object in the environment. So what you're seeing here, the dog right here is an example of augmented. It's not there. Okay, these also can be determined as the XR AR. Okay, so you have this dog that you can get it as visual capture an image or a video. It bug when you touch on it, and you can showcase it in a different way whereby it moves around, work around. Okay, even though the system able to understand this is an obstacle, for example, the table is an obstacle and the dog will not go inside this. Okay, and it has the same character of the dog that you see, because the virtual dog and an object, you add it in that environment and the camera uses that to capture. Okay, and you know, in some case you can even make it to act in a different manner. This look like actually three-dimensional, but when you look at these closely, you find that yes, it's like a real dog, and the way it does, if I can share the video, you will see it's moving, like it's breathing in and out and doing all this dog's activity. You touch on it, it barks, and so on. Look at it, it's like watching the TV and so on. So this is an example of the augmented reality, right? In this picture you see is bird, okay, like watching the TV and bird and so on. And here it's set down, it moves from this location to this location to this position, sorry. So both position. Is that clear? So if you look here, you have the dog, okay, in a different position. And if I can share the video, you will see that it's moving and breathing in and out, while in these, in different positions, okay. And in this is bird in a different position. So all these, it depends on how the program is designed to function. These three dimension of this particular dog, it comes with these kind of characters that allow it to be displayed in an environment and do certain activity like this. I can turn it around, move it around. This particular type of dog, it also has different characters. Okay, it has a different character. It has a different character. This is the same as the previous one that we see. Okay, this time it's looking at the side. Okay, and in this particular type is a different also. Okay, it has a different character. It moves around. Okay, you can have different type of object. You can display a virtual object in an environment where it does not exist, and it will be situated in that particular environment. Let me show you another. Okay, well, for this, the beauty part of it, it understand the obstacle. So it try not to go inside the obstacle, for example. Okay, all these are obstacles. Okay, the table here. Okay, it avoid, it goes around the environment. All these are obstacles. Okay, so it doesn't run there inside this particular object because it's virtual, it can be seen. Okay, and if anything goes around this, I have another picture, I don't know where I kept it. You could see my baby touching the dog somewhere here. Okay, so but I don't know where I kept that picture. Why they do that? They understand and they are visualizing that particular video or screen on the larger screen, so they know where this thing is. It's not existing there. It's not in existence. It's just a free space. But they are looking at the other screen and they, put themselves in a place where like they are touching the head of the dog and so on. And the beauty part of it, the system does do the render without uh, other object entering inside another object. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so if we understand this, then let's go back to the previous thing that we are talking about. Okay, so this is a trend. So going beyond what is created, you can also add other things related to the virtual realities, virtualizing things in a real reality. This simply can be in form of hologram and added into the system, and it can be displayed in a projection mode within that environment, where you can bring your brother from another country and have a chat and in a hologram, and you can leave later on. MX virtual mixed reality (MR) is the combined augmented reality and virtual reality, allowing user to interact with both in real and virtual objects. So if I manage to add this particular thing and let this baby right here, let this baby, where is it? Okay, allowing this baby right here to interact with this dog, then I have this mixed reality. As I told you, there is another video I make, and the pictures, though I don't have it here on this system, where the baby is touching the head of the dog and all that. But that is because the baby is looking at other screen that are projected in the environment and seeing that. But if we can make this baby, okay, right here, to interact with this virtual object, which is a dog, then we have that mixed reality. That clear? Okay, is there any question? Any question? Okay, if there is no question, then we can move on. So what is the mixed reality? Having the three-dimensional object, which is a virtual, and interacting with the physical object. So you have the augmented, you have the virtual realities, and you have the physical. Let's see what we have here. So it's a combination of AR and VR, allowing user to interact in both real and virtual object. So you have the real object, which is this. Okay, this is the real object. This is the real objects, and these are all real objects. These are all real objects. These are real objects. Okay, while we have the augmented reality, which is the virtual object, right? So having these together will make, if there is any interaction, will make the virtual realities. Okay, then we have convergence, which is augmented reality and mixed reality that are rapidly evolving and converging with the virtual realities, expanding the possibility. It's making it more realistic and making the possibility that objectives of virtual realities become more visible. Okay, so when you have the augmented and sometimes you have the mixed reality, it gives you some immersive experience. These particular objects I use a phone to do this particular activity. Imagine I use this with the virtual reality. Imagine I use the virtual realities in producing this. It would be amazing and impressive. So we have this involvement and improvement in terms of the use of virtual realities with augmented and mixed reality. So let's look at the expertise application of virtual realities. We can use the virtual realities in terms of training, visualization, and collaboration. In Cosmopolitan University, we use the virtual realities to train the nursing students. We use this for anatomy, okay, where the student learn about the human body, dismantle and putting them back together, okay. And we are not just staying there, we are looking into creating more virtual realities application to be used for our educational purpose and training, okay. So this is to start with the nursing. We are doing more for engineering student and other computer science as well. Just few days ago, I had been contacted by other people to have these virtual realities to be used for criminology, okay, field, and we are working in putting the script together so that we can come up with a new application that will be used for criminology. Okay, so we use the virtual realities for training, okay, for training purposes. So before one started doing certain activity in a specialized field, it is good to give that particular person a hands-on and first knowledge on what is the expectation on that environment before the person start putting hand on that environment. Just imagine you have a physician training a student, medicine student, for example, and teaching them. Will he give the student a real human being to start operating on him? Definitely there must be a way, right? They usually give a rat, a frog, and all that, but now with the help of virtual realities, you can give him a human being, but a virtual human, whereby you can test that particular student, give the training, test the student. When the student pass, then start putting the student in real life. So this is what we do, okay. training purpose, and we also can visualize. Okay, when there is need for visualization, it can be used for certain application for visualization. Collaboration, we can use it for collaboration. Okay, so training, when you have this architectural design or medicine, as I mentioned, or nursing student and so on. Visualization, when you trying to view the medical archive, like for example medical electronic medical record for the radiologic imaging, and look at the image to have immersive experience on the image and do some diagnosis. You can use that to view, because the virtual realities had a high resolution in most cases. And also you have collaboration, where you collaborate with the other team somewhere to come up with some, model design and so on, architectural design and so on. So it can be used for collaboration at the same time, where people living in different location, one in Africa, the other in Europe, and all that, you can collaborate at the same time with the virtual realities and having that immersive experience. So, is there any question so far? Is there any question? Any question? If you have any question, let me know. Joshua, do you have a question? Okay, so if there is no question, we call it a day, and hope to see you on Saturday for the practical activities.